We ready? Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Monday night team up call. I hope you all had a great weekend. And can you believe, we're already halfway through January. We're well into 2017. And I'm really excited about 2017. And I'm really excited about the message that I'm going to present to you tonight. David has formed a new group. It's called T for Q, where we are preparing 22 of our reps so that they will be accepted into Q School this summer. And one of my jobs in helping to prepare was I put together a program on what is your relationship with money. And I had so much fun putting this program together. I called it Money, Mindset, and Myths. And I pulled from a lot of different sources. And when I was putting this together, I came up with this cycle of what happens when we claim a goal and we go after a goal. So we're going to talk about that tonight, but I really kind of want to set the pace, and I want to establish a couple things before we go into the cycle. So if you'll bear with me for just a second, how many of you have ever heard the expression, focus on what you want and not on what you don't want? Have you ever heard that? Focus on what you want, stop focusing on what you don't want. And that's great advice. And it's so true because what we focus on starts to take shape. What we focus on actually starts to expand and grow. And most people live their lives focusing on what they don't want and focusing on the problem, okay, instead of shifting that focus. So what I know for a fact is that if that is true, okay, people are focused on their problems, what we have to start doing is understanding that we don't have problems to solve, we have decisions to make. I hope that resonates with you. We don't have problems to solve, we have decisions to make. And maybe the resolution of a problem is within a new decision. I can give you two examples, and they're personal examples. If I go back 24 years ago, you guys know that I had really poor health. I was an inflammatory nightmare, and I was really focused for about 10 years on the problem. And then 24 years ago, I made a decision that I was going to get healthy. I didn't know what that was going to look like, but I made the decision that I was going to stop focusing on the problem and I was going to get healthy. I started saying 24 years ago, I am vibrant, vital, and alive. I am vibrant, vital, and alive. And I'm seeing some great I am statements circulating all over Facebook. I am two of the most powerful words in the universe. When you start saying I am, you're giving a directive to the subconscious mind. And so I was saying, I am vibrant, vital, and alive. And guess what showed up in my life 6 months later? Juice Plus. All right, and I started to get healthy. Now let's go back 12 years ago. 12 years ago, I was in the middle of a divorce. And I was really focused. And please mute yourselves out, guys. I was really focused on the problems of a divorce. What was the future going to be like for me? Would I be okay? Would I be one of these women that ended up in a 2-bedroom apartment somewhere? And so I started to realize that the solution was going to be in making a new decision. And I made the decision 12 years ago that even though a very strong 6-figure income walked out the front door, I made the decision that I, Terry Luongo, with my Juice Plus business, was going to recreate that 6-figure income for my household. I made a decision, okay? So it's important that we take a look at what is it that you want for your life and that you start making decisions for your health. You start making decisions for your career. You start making decisions for how much money do you want to earn. It's an important activity because here's the deal. Once you start to create the decision and you know what it is that you want, you make that decision, then we can get about the business of creating the goal. First, you have to know what you want, then we create the goal. Now we're ready to get into the goal cycle. So on the sheet, I asked all of you to decide. Remember, you don't have a problem to solve, you have a decision to make. What kind of income, what kind of money would you like to make in 2017? Make a decision. What position would you like to achieve in 2017? Make the decision. Now, okay, so we could work and break this down and we can get in small groups to help you figure that out, and I think that's a really good thing to do. But what I want you to do is once you make that decision, remember Gary Blair says, unless you decide with certainty what it is that you want, if you don't do that, then you accept table scraps by default. And I don't want that for anybody on this call. So you make the decision. Now this is what happens when you set the goal for what it is that you want. Pay close attention because this happens to everybody. If your goal is worthy of you and you have playing big, this is what will happen. Pay attention. Because Magnus is going to start to show up. Magnus is that voice in your head that says, stop, 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 and play safe. Abraham Maslow has said that within each person, there are two forces at work. There's the force of, I've got to stay comfortable, I've got to stay safe, and there's the force that says, go for it, be empowered, take the risk. But most of us listen to the voice of Magnus that says, play small, play safe. So what happens is that as you set the goal, the natural outcome is going to be that you go into resistance. And let me read to you what resistance looks like, especially in the Juice Plus business. Number one, you become too busy. Oh, you heard this? How many times have you heard yourself say, I have no time? Number two, you start to procrastinate. I'll do it later. Number three, you're scared into inaction. Oh my God, what if? Number four, here's a good one, you defer decisions. Oh, you do it, Judy Strickler. You do it, Michelle Malloy. You decide. Another resistance, you lose interest. This is boring. It's just not my thing. You become forgetful. Oh, I meant to, but I forgot. You're disorganized. Where did I put that file? Where did I put that? Where did I put that file? Terry, would you send that to me again? Terry, would you send that to me again? Terry, would you send that to me again? You fog up, you space out. I don't remember. What are you talking about? Did we already have this conversation? What are you talking about? You feel paralyzed. I just can't think, or I just can't get going. Oh, here's another one. You find reasons not to act. Well, I can't because my son has a soccer game tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. I can't because, I can't because, I can't because. You're impatient. This is taking way too long. It must not be meant for me. And here's one every single one of us has experienced. You keep running into naysayers. Other people say you can't do that. That's not possible. And what you keep finding is these people that keep showing up in your life. Juice Plus is too expensive. What are you doing this for? So these are just some signs of what resistance could look like in your world because you've set a goal that you're worthy of. So why? I hope your question right now is, Terry, why does this happen? Why do we go into resistance? Well, remember I told you Abraham Maslow, comfort versus profit. most of us have lived in the comfort zone for so long that when we take on a goal, we have to start doing things differently, right? We have to develop new skills and habits, right? How many times have you heard me say that? Well, as we start to take action and we start to move into activity, many times with things we've never done before, we literally start to create a new neural pathway in the brain. So we're leaving behind how we used to do things, and now we're starting to develop a new neural pathway. And that's why the resistance sets in. I want you to think about a seed. Okay, this seed kind of reflects your goal. You're going to plant this seed in the ground, and it's going to grow up to be a carrot plant, all right? So you put the seed in the ground, all right? And what has to happen? We water the seed, the sun nurtures it, and that seed starts to move through the soil. It's moving through the soil. What it's moving through, it's creating a new pathway, right? But the soil is the resistance. It's moving through the resistance, then all of a sudden it pops up and it becomes the carrot plant. But the seed has to move through the resistance, just like the seed that you've planted, the seed of a new goal, the seed of a new decision has got to work through resistance. It's got to create the new neural pathway. Now, I have studied neuroscience for 20 years, and I am constantly amazed at what I learned. And last weekend, Catherine Lee said something that just literally blew my mind. There is something that you can do to actually help the brain create the new neural pathway. And do you know what that is? It's gratitude. Gratitude is like the water for the seed. It's like the sunshine for the seed. And there's research out there that says when you are in a state of gratitude, you literally work through resistance easier. Now, some of you guys know that I did a program, I think it was 2 years ago, on aging. And I knew that if you could get into a state of gratitude, you know, then the brain literally releases anti-aging hormones to every cell in the body. And that your DHEA elevates like, 100% in just 3 minutes of feeling gratitude. Little did I know that it's also what gives us strength and helps us to move through resistance. I hope that excites you, because that really, that excites me so much. All right, so you got the goal. Be aware, notice, there's Magnus. Notice the resistance, okay? Get into gratitude to help move through the resistance. And here's just as important as gratitude, it's action. All out, massive action is the number one thing that will help you move through the resistance. It's about stepping into power. Remember that little seed in the soil? It had to move. It had to move to work through that soil. You have to move. You have to get into activity. Because what happens from there is then you go into some momentum. So you're not going to get into momentum. And we know Jeff Roberti and Gordon Hester trained on this for years and years and years. That's all they talk about, is how to build momentum, sustain momentum, keep it going. It's all about action. And what happens once you get some momentum going is something happens that I call the memory of success. You're starting to master some of those new skills and habits, okay? You're starting to create that new neural pathway, and you start to create the memory of success. And that's what gives you the confidence to keep moving through that. Now we've got the momentum, and guess what happens next? It's productivity. All of a sudden in our business, you can see your numbers growing. You can see your team growing. Productivity is setting in And then you're just about ready. You're just about ready to hit your goal. And what shows up again? Resistance. One more time. How many of you, show of hands, say yes, know that right before you hit your goal, resistance shows up again? But yeah, say yes, we all have. Okay, so there's, play it safe. This is not for you. But now that you understand what resistance looks like in the real world, it's just not a word, resistance. I've given you examples of at least 10 different types of resistance. Now I think you can be fortified. Your awareness has expanded, and you're not going to give up. So show of hands, how many of you have found those examples of resistance to be beneficial? And here's the deal too, as you're growing teams, you know that this is going to happen to every single rep on your team if they have a goal that's worthy of them. I'm going to tell you right now, if you set a goal and you do not go into resistance, guess what? You are playing too small. Up the ante. Get back to dreaming. Make a different decision. Think bigger, dream bigger. Then get into activity. Okay, so this is what happens. You've hit your goal. Congratulations. You're a qualified sales coordinator. You're the SSC. You're the QNMD. You're the NMD. Congratulations. Now what do you need to do? New piece of paper. You got to start over. And you need to establish a new goal. You don't have a problem to solve. You have a decision to make. You got to go back, reevaluate. What do you want for your life? Set that goal. And guess what will happen? Here she comes again. Okay, it's just the natural evolution of growing. And I'm going to tell you right now, most people don't experience the joy of working through resistance because they don't have the nerve to set goals that they're worthy of. So I'm just going to ask you, I'm going to wrap it up tonight with one question. Are you ready to step into your power? Are you ready to step into your power? Are you ready to claim what you want? Are you ready to make that decision? All the hands show of hands. Say yes, say yes. Okay. All right, guys. I hope you found this beneficial. Don't give up. It's just the natural evolution of how our brains are made. God made us with this divine mechanism called the brain. Okay? Do it joyfully. Okay? I think the world of each and every one of you. Peace and blessings. Good night, everybody.